Hey there, it's Chris Hogg with Digital Journal. We are live at Inventures, and we are sitting down with the Minister of Technology and Innovation in Alberta, Nate Glubish. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So this is a conference about innovation. There's so much momentum happening in Alberta, from venture capital attraction to commercialization and leadership. One of the things that we're looking to unpack in this conference is what's driving that and how do we keep up that momentum, or how does Alberta do that? So just open up, I guess, the 30,000-foot view. What are your thoughts on why do we keep seeing headlines of wins in Alberta, and how do you sustain that?
Yeah, well, I think there's a few factors. First of all, Alberta is the only province in the country seeing that in-migration. People are moving here from all across the country because it is the best place to be in the country. We just surpassed 5 million people, and I think what is it that's drawing people here? Well, we're known to have the lowest taxes in the country. We're known to have, among the larger provinces, we have the best cost of living. We have a huge advantage there. You can actually afford to buy and own a home. Mm-hmm. You've got a really well-educated workforce, so if you're trying to start and grow a business, you're going to find great talent here. And of course, there's something for everybody in Alberta. You got the Rocky Mountains, you got Great Lakes, you got great forests, you got everything you could possibly want. It's the best place to live, work, and play. And I think that combination has caused a lot of folks from every industry to want to call Alberta home. And that translates also into the innovation and tech sector. You've got innovators from all over the world saying, you know what, there's really brilliant people in Alberta. We want to work with these folks. You've got Turing Award winner Dr. Richard Sutton, mm-hmm. who, that's the equivalent of a Nobel Prize in computer science, mm-hmm. Based right in Edmonton. And you've got a Nobel Prize winner, Dr. Michael Houghton, who discovered Hep C, and his research has saved millions of lives around the world. He's based in Edmonton. You've got outstanding talent in Alberta. And so no matter what it is you're trying to build as an innovator, you can build it here and be very successful. In terms of some public policy initiatives beyond just low taxes and low cost of living that we try to protect here in Alberta, I think there's also been one of the challenges we've tried to overcome over the last number of years is that access to early stage capital.
Mm-hmm. Super important.
As a former VC, I know yeah. that early stage capital is the lifeblood of innovation and is what helps to grow that funnel of early stage companies who take an idea and actually turn it into something real.
Yeah.
And if you look back in 2017, Alberta only had about $30 million that year in venture capital investment into Alberta tech companies. And I think back to when I was getting my start as a VC in the early to mid 2000s, it was closer to like $3 or $4 million a year. Mm-hmm. And now we're several years running at 700 million or more. That's great progress. And one of the tools we've used to help deliver that is our venture capital fund of funds called Alberta Enterprise Corporation. And what we do through that is we've put several $100 million into that fund. And then they partner with the best and brightest VCs from all across North America. And they become an investor in those VCs. And they say, for us to be an investor in you, you have to have an office in Alberta. You have to have a senior staff, a senior partner, or a senior management staff on the ground in Alberta, mm-hmm. looking at Alberta deals every single day. And the premise there was, we are so confident in the quality of the technologies being born here in Alberta and the research that's happening in Alberta, that any objective investor who spends time talking to those folks, they're going to be convinced, hey, you know what, I got to cut a check. I got to make an investment. And the fact is it's working, because for every dollar we've put into those venture funds through Alberta Enterprise Corporation, $5 has been invested into Alberta tech companies by those funds. And how is that possible? Well, Alberta Enterprise might put $10 million into one fund, but that fund raised $100 million. Mm-hmm. And some of their investors are from all across Canada and around North America. And they're seeing such high quality deals in Alberta that they're investing a larger share of their total capital pool in Alberta than just the amount that Alberta Enterprise put in to get their fund going.
Ecosystem effect.
So it's really we're seeing that ripple effect of investment. And it comes down to our thesis, which is Alberta's technology talent is outstanding. It is competitive on the global stage. And so if we can invite enough investors in who are professional VC investors who really know their craft and just get them to see those deals, mm-hmm. they're going to cut checks. So that has really put a ton of momentum into our ecosystem. Now, it doesn't mean that there's not more to do. There's always more we can focus on. But
what are you hearing
in a
from,
nutshell,
what are you hearing from CEOs of these companies that are growing? Other than early stage capital, are there other requests for different kinds of support?
Some of the challenges that I hear is, we've got outstanding research talent, we've got outstanding engineering talent, outstanding computer science and AI talent. But one thing that's a bit of a challenge, and it's not just unique to Alberta, this is all across Canada, is that product management talent pool. Like someone who's actually had the experience of building something and turning it into a product and then selling that product and really taking that business to a whole new level. And that's not something you can train, right? You can't go and teach that in a university setting. There's no product management tech program anywhere. You have to learn that by doing it. And so, if you look at Alberta compared to, say, Ontario, Alberta is a faster growing tech ecosystem, but it is still maturing, whereas Ontario is a mature tech ecosystem. And how did that happen? Well, you had Nortel becoming a massive multi-billion-dollar telecom success story. You had BlackBerry, right, or Research in Motion becoming a massive multi-billion-dollar success story. You've got Shopify. You've got several of these, where some of these companies are now worth over $50 billion. And so those companies created thousands of really experienced technologists, many of which actually had product responsibility. And that's one advantage they have over us today, is just that critical mass. But in Alberta, what we're focused on is just how do we make sure that we don't chase away those companies as they're scaling up, so that organically, as the folks are learning by doing, and not everyone's going to make it to the moon, but some of them are. And how do we make sure that the ones who are going to get to that stratospheric result, that they don't feel they have to leave Alberta? And so the fact that we now have 10 or 12 companies in Alberta that have a market cap of at least $1 billion in the tech space that started here and reached that level without having to leave, that's a great feather in our cap. And so my goal as Minister of Innovation is just, let's make sure that we're working with the sector to understand their needs, wherever possible, getting out of the way as a government, and maybe every now and then finding a way to solve a market failure to make sure that they don't have to leave. And by doing so over time, we will reach that critical mass of that talent, and that will be an inflection point that will take us to a whole nother level.
I want to shift gears a little bit into certainly lots of wins, lots of momentum. If we look at leadership and workforce perceptions of innovation, this week Digital Journal launched a national study. We've been doing it for months. We published it this week. We surveyed 1,000 people coast to coast across Canada in every major market, representative of population. And we asked people from a workforce and a leadership perspective, so not focusing on economic development or wins or outcomes, but how people experience innovation inside their companies across a range of industries. And one of the key takeaways and findings when we asked people if they work for an innovative company, and lots of layers to that question, was only 5% of people, both leaders and workforce, said they work for an innovative company. And this is outside of tech. This is just broadly how innovation's being applied. And we called those companies game changers. There's varying stages, and everyone's in it to a certain degree. But with only 5%, and this is not an Alberta thing, there was no regional distinction nationally. I really want to try and unpack how we look to improve that. So if Alberta is going to invest in commercialization and technology, how do we help more companies build that confidence and talent and structure to lead? If we're going to take the 5% and grow that, so companies are taking bets on innovation, do you have any thoughts, or what are you seeing companies talk about of trying to innovate more?
Yeah, well, I think what your study found would confirm what we've seen from many national studies, is that Canada, small business, medium-sized business, and large business alike, is lagging other major developed countries, certainly lagging the U.S., significantly in adopting technology in every industry. So this is no longer a question about who has the strongest tech sector. This is now a question about how does the economy writ large adopt technology to become more productive. And this, I think, is one of the significant factors leading to the productivity crisis we have in the country. And so this is something we're certainly very keen on looking at. How do we play a role? I mean, we're not going to fix the whole country here in Alberta. Of course. We might try, but what can we do? And so one of the things for me, I'll give you maybe two ideas that we're working on. One is to look at those companies that where we can really celebrate success. and say, how do we tell that story? Because this isn't I don't believe this is something where government can force people to be more
For sure.
tech forward. I think we have to inspire them. We have to excite them. We have to invite them in to join others in success and to say, look at this company here in Alberta that has accomplished these amazing things. Never would have been possible without some artificial intelligence tools or some other technology tools. If they can do it, you can do it too. And I think that's one role. So as Minister of Innovation, one of the things I try to do, I'm very active on LinkedIn, celebrating Alberta tech success stories, celebrating some outstanding research that's in development. And just, again, part of that strategy is to inspire people and to get them excited about what's happening and to say, it can be done, I can do it too. But another big part for me is to say, how can we lead by example as a government in adopting modern tools and technologies? And so that's like the technology side of my technology and innovation portfolio. I'm in charge of the use and the implementation of technology in the delivery of government services. I have a license to meddle in every government department and try and build tools and technologies for them and to equip them to be more successful. And so, we recently recruited a new deputy minister into my department. His name's Janet Alford, and he's a technologist. He is someone who, with his own hands, goes out and builds AI tools in his spare time because it's fun. And the amount of things we've been able to do in the government of Alberta in just a few short months to automate and to improve the quality of the work that we're doing and to eliminate wasted time and to accelerate turnaround times and get answers to the citizens faster, it's been mind-blowing. I'll give you one example. So for privacy impact assessments, normally it takes 2 months to do a privacy impact assessment. Janik was able to build a custom AI tool in our own sovereign compute environment where we trained it on all the legislation, regulation, and policy that defines privacy impact assessment. And now all we have to do is go and say, here's the definitions of the data sets that we're working with. Here are the folks inside of tech and innovation or the Department of Health or the Department of Justice who are going to work with that information for analytics purposes. And here's the purpose that they're wanting to analyze it for, so that there's clear guardrails and boundaries. And then just one click, you generate a fully compliant privacy impact assessment that you can send to the privacy commissioner right then and there. So you take something that took 2 months down to 2 minutes. It's really exciting. And this is one example out of probably a dozen examples I'll be able to share over the next several months that we are actually doing. We're not just talking about it. We're doing it. We're living it. We're leading by example. And my message to Albertans and to Canadians is, if the Alberta government can use these technologies to get better at what we do, surely you can too. And my hope, again, is to inspire, to educate, and to motivate folks to want to just play around with these tools. We're also publishing a lot of our open source tools that we're building to say, we're a large organization. You're a large organization. You have some of the same problems and challenges that we have. We're dealing with a lot of the same functions. Here's the tool we use to solve that problem. You can have it, tweak it. We post it on GitHub, and folks can do whatever they want with it. So I think some of those initiatives are going to really help to move the needle. Sometimes it's not just about government throwing a bunch of money at a problem and hoping you can force people to do something that's good for them. Sometimes you got to lead by example.
The another factor that's a big discussion here, and certainly we see it in all the coverage we do, is upskilling and reskilling is needed for all of us. We're all, this is still a pretty nascent industry, and technology, even though it's old, there's a lot of us working with it for the first time. And one of the key findings, or another key finding in our research, is that organizations who invest early in innovation report stronger results across leadership, talent, operational performance, and it's night and day, like multiples higher. How can Alberta, whether it's government or collaboration with others, do you have thoughts on how Alberta can help employers build this kind of resilience, think long-term, upskill, and move the talent where it needs to be?
There's a couple ways. One thing I'll highlight right now is just something that was announced just earlier this week at the Upper Bound Conference in Edmonton, hosted by the Alberta Machine Intelligence Institute. Is that Google has announced a $5 million funding commitment to partner with Amy to develop a whole new suite of AI literacy curriculum, not for computer scientists, because they already know this stuff, but for everybody else. So if you're an engineer, if you're going into business, if you're going into agriculture, if you're going into the social sciences, whatever it is you're going to do, there should be some AI literacy training customized to the field that you are studying in, to say, as a teacher, how would I use AI to be better? As a farmer, how would I use AI to deliver better yields? As a lawyer, how would I use AI to do a better job for my clients? These are things that we want to be developing into some curriculum for every discipline, so that anybody graduating from a post-secondary program in Alberta will be AI literate and proficient in using AI tools in their discipline. It's not rocket science. We can do this. And I think what Google saw is we've done some great work in Alberta in terms of training people in AI. We've done some great work in research in AI. We're very forward-thinking in trying to use AI inside the government. What better jurisdiction to partner with to develop this training suite of programs? And so that's a big win for Alberta that we're eager to partner with Google on, and looking forward to launching. And then in terms of upskilling folks who maybe aren't doing a degree right now, we've got lots of micro-credential type programs that we're developing or have developed that can help folks to upskill and learn more about technology. I think Amy's done a lot of work in that regard too. They've got some programming I think it's called AI for Everyone. And so it's a great course where it doesn't matter what your discipline is, doesn't matter if you're currently in school or not. You can take this as an open study course, and you're going to learn from the best of the best in the world what AI is, what's the art of the possible, and how could I use this in my life as a layperson, in my life in whatever my line of work is, to be more productive. And so I think these initiatives are going to really help to move the needle so that Albertans and Alberta businesses will be able to, I think, outpace the rest of the country. Hopefully the rest of the country will learn from some of our successes and join us, but we're certainly eager to lead the way.
My last question, I guess, with some parting thoughts. Alberta Innovates and Inventures have played a key role in supporting innovation in the province. As this ecosystem matures, how do you see the role of public institutions supporting commercialization, research, and innovation? Like, what's next?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we need to ask ourselves, what are some of the big challenges that matter most to Albertans that we want to solve? And how do we focus any of our public resources related to innovation, related to research, related to technology commercialization? How do we focus those efforts on solving the problems that matter most to Albertans? And so for me, a big focus is on healthcare. Mm-hmm. We're facing enormous population growth, so that has some growing pains. We have an aging population. The older you get, the more the demand from the healthcare system that you're gonna have. And so all of that is happening in alignment with the perfect storm of a shortage of skilled workers in Canada. This is not unique to Alberta. Mm-hmm. And so how do we make sure that we have a healthcare system that is strong and sustainable and can meet the challenges of tomorrow? The only way is through more innovation. It's through more innovative diagnostic tools. It's through more innovative therapeutics. It's faster speed to market on new drug discovery that can maybe cure diseases that are not solving chronic disease problems that otherwise are going to be a massive drain for the latter decades of a person's life. And also, how do we optimize our clinical settings? How do we make sure that our surgical suites are able to help the maximum number of people in a day? That every surgeon can help maybe an extra 10 or 20% of people every day. That every anesthesiologist can help 10 or 20% more people every day. All while doing it in such a way where you are reducing the overall burden on their workload, like eliminating paperwork that's unnecessary or streamlining a lot of the charting work that they do. And these are things that AI can really help with.
Optimize.
And so our goal as a government is to try and say, wherever we are focusing research dollars or technology commercialization dollars or mentorship and support dollars and resources, how do we target that towards things like medical innovations that are going to make our healthcare system stronger? Mm-hmm. Because that way we know we will, first of all, be a customer of whatever gets built, because we're a publicly funded, single-payer, universally accessible healthcare system. So we can be a lead customer, which then makes it easier for the company that has built something new and revolutionary to also go and sell it to other markets. and to attract investment to then grow and become bigger. And they can do that all while still being headquartered here in Alberta. So you get the win-win of fixing a problem in healthcare, creating a really exciting company that's going to create jobs, be more innovative, diversify our economy, and attract investment. But so that way we're able to it's not just about having an economic outcome with innovation, although that's important. It's about saying, how do we solve the most important problems that Albertans care about? So I think healthcare, education, making sure our justice system is functioning as best it can, making sure our social services are optimized and delivering the best possible results for vulnerable Albertans, making sure our agriculture industry can be more productive with precision agricultural tools and have a higher yield and ensure that we have food security for Albertans and Canadians and the rest of the world. Certainly our energy industry, making sure that we're tackling some of the innovative challenges that they face to be the cleanest, most responsible producers of energy that you could find anywhere in the world. Finding new and innovative ways to reduce emissions and to better protect the environment. We are already world leaders in that. It just makes sense that Alberta would continue to lead the way. So that's what you're going to continue to see from our government as we continue to invest in innovation. And from time to time, you might see some tweaks to the programming here and there. But at the end of the day, we're committed to making sure Alberta is the most innovative jurisdiction in Canada, and can't wait to share with you some of the successes we see in the coming months.
Minister Glubish, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
For more information on what's happening in Alberta, the innovation ecosystem here, visit digitaljournal.com. See you next time.